You're listening to The Practical Wealth Show with Curtis May.
All right, guys, welcome to this special edition of the Practical Wealth Show. I'm excited to have two guests on from the Smart Real Estate Coach who's been on our show before. So I have Mr. Zach Beach, and I have the leader of the pack here, Mr. Chris Prefontaine. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. The leader of the pack. You gotta love that.
I haven't heard that one yet.
So if you don't know, I was honored to be a VIP guest up at their event, QLS Live, up in Rhode Island in September. And let me tell you, their process is the real deal. And so what I wanted to do is we're going to be hosting a special webinar to really talk about this, because what we want to do is I'm going to roll out to you guys this year what we call the principles of financial success. And I want to lay them out because you haven't heard me do it. I'm going to put a course in, you'll see it. But principle one is you got to save money. That's 15-20% of your income or more. Principle two is maximum protection. Principle three is for replacement of assets at death. Principle four is velocity, Principle four is savings, 6 to 12 months of storage of cash, which comes from the savings. But now we're going to get to, the problem is most of y'all want to jump right here to step 5, okay? And I want you to build a foundation. But step 5, creating a velocity, is important because you're never going to win accumulating money, all right? And so what you want to be able to do is invest in your mindset, your skill set, and your network. And then as your knowledge grows, you look for ways to employ your time and your capital. And so the reason for this is, hey, here is a great way to employ both in a very profitable strategy. That's what I call a blue ocean, meaning that a red ocean is where everybody's fishing. A blue ocean is somewhere where there's less people fishing and you have you're less of a commodity. So that is the purpose of this talk. I really wanted to highlight that part and just share a little bit of their thoughts, what they're doing. And you can see why I'm so excited about sharing this with you all, resharing with you. But I want you focused on it now, so pay attention. All right. So, hey guys, so to tell them what is, so I've read the book twice, Real Estate on Your Terms, or Terms Real Estate. Can we back up and just start at the beginning and describe a little bit about your background and then what this is?
Zach, why don't you jump in, because I want to hit those stages he talked about too.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're looking for buying and selling on terms, it just simply means that we don't use our own cash, credit, or ask investors for money. So what we're able to do is buy on 3 primarily tactics that we use, which are buy on a lease purchase or a lease option, buying owner financing, typically with principal only payments and little to no money down, and buying subject to the existing loan, which basically means you're going to close on it, take title, and you're going to acknowledge that there is a mortgage on the property still. A lot of those deals are going to be really long-term. Primarily, we don't have end dates on them. So 3 fantastic strategies to implement at any stage of what you are establishing there, but certainly at that 5th stage where you don't have a steamroller running behind you and you can be a strategic real estate investor by buying and selling on terms.
Yeah, yes. And Curtis, I'll jump in. A couple comments on what you said and Zach said, because you were with us in the audience last week in Philly. You had 140 investors there, some very experienced, some new, but all of them saying nobody's teaching us how to do this. So it's unique. What Zach just went through was pretty deep, even though he gave you the 10,000 foot view. So we're going to go deeper when we get with you guys. I love your principles. Because the second one, protection, remember what Zach said. You're not signing personally. You're not using your own cash. I learned that the hard way when the market crashed in 2008. So we set ourselves up every deal to be as recession resistant as possible. And that's key for your second principle there. In your 4th principle, storage of 6 to 12 months, when you guys see how we structure these deals on the 20th, you're going to see that you'll actually have a spreadsheet when you get to like the 4, 5, 6 deal mark where you'll have not just cash storage coming in 6 to 12 months out. You'll have it coming in for the next 3 years. Yeah. And you can earmark that for storage. That's pretty cool for those 2 principles. Just side note.
Yeah. And while you were going too, I just There's a couple things that you stated, building your foundation and networking community. So when we do the live training on February 20th from 7 to 8:30, we're going to be able to easily build you the foundation of what you need to do in order to start moving this business forward. We're going to give you a bunch of key principles that we use and how we buy 12 to 15 deals around the country this exact way with little to no money down. And then also, you talk about networking community. I don't think there's a better community out there. Now, I'm biased. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm wrong, though. I mean, there's not a better community out there other than the Wicked Smart community, which is our group of associates, what we call associates, who we lock arms with, that are doing deals and that are constantly supporting each other in order to reach their max potential. So you're going to get your foundation, and you're going to have the opportunity to be able to join an amazing community, an amazing network that can move you forward, not only professionally, but personally.
Yeah, because you got to think, if you have a group of people that are really, truly thinking, we talk about our principle of prosperity. So the first one is think from a prosperous mindset. And so if you start, that's what I love about your group, thinking that way, then you understand there's more than enough for everybody to have more than enough, And so then they don't mind sharing with you what they're doing, their best practice. So you do need to get in a community where it's not dog eat dog. Let me say this. I want you to say it right now. I went to school in New England, so it's Wicked Smart.
That's right. Wicked Smart.
Smart.
You did a good job.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Gordon College up in Wyndham, Massachusetts.
All right. Well,
where
that's
you
what
park the car.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all, me and Chris, both from Central Mass. I'm originally from Shrewsbury. That's where I met his daughter.
Okay.
Chris is right from Auburn. So, we're dead Central Mass. There's a lot of Wicked Smart going on there.
So let's talk about why, because we talked about this, but I think because when you look at the room that we were in up in Philly, it's nobody's heard of it, or where they have heard of it. I knew somebody that does like lease options, but I said, well, how many people actually buy the house at the end of the they'll do like a 2-year or 3-year lease, and less than 10% was the answers that I got. And so the numbers for you all are like almost like 100, like over 95% of the people that do it get it. So you're going to get paid.
Yeah, it's an inverse relationship to what you usually hear. And I always use this story. You guys, the listeners, you go on right now on YouTube and you start searching lease options. You will find mentors openly, publicly saying, just put a rent-owned buyer in the home. If they can't cash out, it's okay. And that might be okay in their book or how they did it, how they papered the deal. But morally and ethically, it stinks.
Yeah.
So we set our buyers up to win, and we set all our deals up to structure with 3 paydays, which we'll talk about in the live training. 3 paydays, like now money, overtime money, and long-term. And that's ideal for any business owner. I don't care what you do.
I don't care what you do. I mean, it's about cash. Because see, the thing is, what's so cool about this, because where I'm the opposite of typical advice. Typical advice focuses on accumulation, buy and hold, dollar cost average, get out of debt and buy term investor difference. But really, if you look at how wealthy people create money, they focus on cash flow, velocity, leverage. Okay. And so, you kind of get all 3 of that without. So let's say you're starting out and you don't have for example, I also like turnkey properties, but you got to have some money to do that. Right. And they don't make, can I put out $75,000 a deal? Our clients are lucky if we do that, but they make $295, $300 a month. And so now you can really, once you see, here's the thing though. So what's the catch? It is work. It's simple, but you got to learn how to do stuff. So, but if you're willing to learn, this separates you from the pack where you call it, I keep saying a deal architect, but you call it something else. Do I have it reversed? A transaction engineer?
You got it.
Yep.
Okay. And so I love that because see, most people don't want to think. So if there's 10 levels to real estate investing, most people are stuck at what I call level 2. They don't really work harder to get themselves out of the pack. So what we want to do in the Practical Wealth Show is introduce you to, hey, look, here's level, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And we want to get you to, financial independence and 5 to 7 years or less.
Well, you talked about leverage. So, I mean, our model is the absolute leverage. Talk about that. If there's a mortgage on a property, you're already using the seller's mortgage. So you're buying on a lease option or buying it subject to. If you're buying owner financing, then the seller is willing to hold the note or is willing to hold the mortgage. So you're not going to a bank. So you're using other people's money or other people's debt in order to be able to create these fantastic deals where we make 3 paydays off of them. And then you also were alluding to that our average, which is roughly $75,000 per 3 paydays, which we'll certainly cover on the live training as well. But we just helped an associate who's up here in Massachusetts get a $69,000 profit with little to no money down on an owner financing deal on a house. Chris, you tell me if I'm wrong, but the house was worth like $75,000.
It was a 120 purchase and a 70 something grand price. Yeah.
So you don't have to. What I was alluding to is we're buying properties in all different types of markets, but you can produce what's that, a 50% return as far as total profit. It's higher than that on these little properties that there's you're not over leveraging yourself. You're using these small properties to accumulate that. But then of course I don't know what area everybody's in, but we're also doing properties that are over $1 million as well. So you can use this technique in many different types of markets and leverage yourself. That way you can accumulate lots of deals.
Your comment on level 2, I think you called it, and level 8, 9, 10 investing.
Right. Yeah.
Level 2, unfortunately, is the flips, the wholesales. We have a lot of people that do them. We've done them, but it's a job because you got to do it again to get paid. Opposed to what Zach just said, where we're laying out all 3 paydays. And is level 8, 9, 10, to use your reference, worth 75 grand? And let's just be candid, like our students average a low of 45,000, but a high of like 200 plus per deal. We happen to be around 75. So
deal.
Is that worth the time and the skill set?
Yeah. Is it worth the time to learn how to do that? To learn how to, people will, as I'm counseling with them, I do this with people one-on-one. And is it worth, people say, well, I want to leave my job. Well, okay, there's some work. If you're going to replace, like if you make $7,000 a month, you really need like 14 for I'm comfortable telling you to leave your job because stuff happens. If you're just doing weather rentals, sometimes people don't pay in the other system. And so you can't be like even. You need to be a little bit above so you can still run your household. This is really a good way to build like a really strong annuity for yourself. You can make money on the front end and on the back end. One of the giveaways that we did, you actually gave people like a 3-year formula, like a worksheet where they could actually help people work it out. See, I'm very process oriented, so I like stuff that you can think through because, I was telling a client, I was looking at Think and Grow Rich, and one of the tenets of Think and Grow Rich is accurate thinking. Okay. And you need to have clarity on what you're trying to do and think accurately, like not this pie in the sky stuff. You can bring them down. And, one of the things I experienced when I was in you guys was that you really, and on your show and on the YouTubes they do. So check out the YouTube channel of just like breaking down deals, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's not just, hey, pie in the sky, these are all the great stuff. You show stuff when things go wrong. Things do go wrong. Stuff happens. If you're creative, you know how to handle stuff. You got to know how to shift and pivot.
Oh yeah, we've done hundreds of deals in the trenches now. Chris has 30 years worth of experience now. I got 4+, but I feel like I've been around here forever. Plus, our community is now doing 12 to 15 deals a month. We've had many students now leave and go full time. But what did we do? We set up a game plan once they came into our community in order to make sure that they had the steps necessary in order to be able to leave comfortably and to be able to set themselves up so that way they could do this full time. If you're in the audience and you're listening and that's what you want to do, we can certainly help you there. If you don't and you just want to build up a nice, nest egg on the side and buy time and freedom, then great, we can help you do that as well. What you're alluding to is a 3-year $1 million plan. Now that'll be one of the freebies that we will give away along with roughly 2,000 other, gifts worth of gifts once you attend the live training. So you're going to get a bunch of free things in general that you can put in action immediately after the training. This is set up for you to come in, learn things, put them into place, and then take action on them immediately. This isn't here any rah-rah. As you can imagine, we're from New England. We have to get down dirty and get things and get you up and moving. So that's what you're going to get from us.
Yeah, absolutely. So after this, you'll know how to do stuff.
Right away. That's so important. Yeah. We want you to be able to take action immediately.
And Curtis, you said stuff happens. As you know, there's a whole chapter in our book about what can go wrong, but I will tell you that on the 20th, we'll tell you some bad deals. And so that when you go out in the trenches, you don't feel like, oh man, I got hit over the head, I can't do this. No, it's normal. This is what you expect versus going to most seminars. I'm not knocking any one mentor. I'm just saying this is what you get. You get all the rosy stuff. Right. And they don't arm you with what could happen. We do. And we're going to give it to you bluntly.
One of the things is that it's real. Oh, here's a question. So what are the type people that do well, in your opinion, from your students? Can you name the traits that you find that people do well that really kind of take to this like a fish to water? What qualities are you looking for? Because you have a coaching program. They have to be accepted into that.
I think we'll both give you a few to think about. No particular order, right? We both have a couple different ideas in this. I know we do. One is you were at one of the presentations in Philly where I said, "Who is this not good for us?" So let me just give you two off the top of my head. In real estate in general, I think if you approach this with the right expectations, so managing expectations, I almost don't care what your background is, and we'll get into some different things in a minute, but managing expectations. So coming to the table, not expecting I have to do a deal next month or I can't do this, or I'll try this. Come at this with, I'm going to go at this. I saw what you guys do. I did my free due diligence, and I'm going to come at this for 36 months with blinders on. So forget traits. Like that has to be your attitude coming into the deal. And it's easier said than done. If you're coachable and can do that and pull out all the stops and not let the shiny objects get in your way, that's going to be a really cool experience for you, guaranteed. And then maybe, Zach, you can dive a little deeper into some traits and stuff.
Yeah, I would say the 3 C's. I would say you're committed, you have strong character, and you're coachable. Those are absolute musts in what I've seen for people that are successful. Now, especially people that are successful and want to be successful quickly. This does take time. As Chris said, I want you to be committed for 36 months. But if you're committed and open-minded and coachable and you have strong character, you can get this done a heck of a lot quicker, I can tell you that. Our goal as a community...
Yeah, I'm sorry, Zach. If I get the impression that it takes 3 years to do a deal, I didn't mean that. I meant commit for 3 years, so I may have said that wrong.
Right.
Nope. I think if you want to build a business as from the perspective of what Curtis is bringing us to the table for, and for you to be able to build this as an acceleration model in order to grow your wealth, then committing for 3 years is definitely there. Because now we're talking about a lot of deals. I don't have an exact number for you, but a lot of deals. Let's say even like one a month for 3 years. Now, if you want to be able to accelerate that even faster, then being coachable and committed, I mean, like on a daily basis committed, and you're having strong character, as Chris was just alluding and you were alluding, that you're going to have ups and downs with deals, and morally and ethically, you're putting the right buyers in the properties, and more than ethically, you're not overcommitting yourself to different sellers, so you're doing the right deals. Those would be some key traits that I constantly look for, and we can constantly mold in order to create some really great real estate investors.
Yeah, there you go. Because you've shiny object syndrome when you can't stay focused. One of the things that helped me in business is that, and I tell people all the time, I've heard this from the time I was 7 or 8. My dad used to tell me, because we had a supermarket, right? He says, I used to ask him, I said, well, Dad, why are these little stores? They open up, they would close up within 6 months. And he says, well, it takes 2 to 5 years to build a business, And so you can't even really, you got to make sure you're in the right thing, but you can't even really make a decision until you work at it for 1 year to 3 years, really 2 to 3 years, then maybe you'll break even. So this works better than that. But that always helped me, because that's, if you go into it with, okay, this is not something I'm trying, this is what I'm doing, because the model has already been built. It does work. What they're talking about, what we're talking about, that's not the question. The question is, will you work? And so, it's they're not on trial. It's like, are you lazy? Will you work? Will you stay focused? Will you stay the course? And if you're that type person, then you definitely want to be on this, because that's what I want to bring you, stuff that works, not theory. And for the right person, man, y'all can change your life. What's Curtis's self-interest? I want 20% of your revenue and going through savings. And if I can get your 20% up, that's more money for Curtis, right? So my pastor told me, listen, I don't mind you having self-interest. I just want to know what they are.
So I just want to take one step back to as well, which is you can certainly, we covered like people that are looking to grow this and eventually go full time by having those types of characteristics. But if you have the right expectations, meaning you just want to build this on the side, then do you have to be as committed and do you have to be as coachable and all that? Mm-hmm. You can certainly build this on the side. This isn't like you have to go out and go full time, 40 hours a week. Most of the people that we work with and that have gone through our trainings and maybe have entered into our coaching programs at various levels are doing this part-time first with the expectations that maybe they want to go full-time. But we've had plenty that say, hey, I love my job. I love what I do for a living. I just want to build more wealth. That way I can make better choices, or I can create choices. Right. So there's both levels of the spectrum here. So if you're just going that route right now, and you're just looking for alternative ways to create wealth, then certainly show up for the live training, because we have the ability to help you there as well.
Well, Jim Rohn says wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune, right? So you got to earn your living by day. But let's say you do one deal a year here, okay? Mm-hmm. And you add that, because if you want like $40,000 a year the typical way, you need, if at 4%, you need like $1 million in your 401k just to get $40,000 a year if the market does well, if you don't want to evade your principal. And so now if you can build a annuity, so to speak, with a real tangible asset, and you can do one or two deals a year at, let's have what they said, let's say it's $30,000. You do two of those a year, you've got an annuity, where you could literally, let's say you're in your late 50s and you only got, you don't have that much accumulated. Then guys, you got to get to work. You got to find something that you can do where you can kind of build some wealth for yourself. And it's better to focus on income and on cash flow than accumulation. That is why I love this stuff.
Yeah. Then the last thing I would say, just because maybe, you're listening to this or watching this and you're like, hey, I'm not getting close to like retirement. I don't need to accumulate this type of wealth. Maybe you're close to my age. I was able to purchase my own property this way by using these different types of terms. So if you show up to live training and you have the tools in order to go buy your own house with putting little to no money down, not going to the bank, and then you have won. I'll tell you that, because me and my wife and my two young children love our property. It's right on the water. And I don't tell you that to brag in any way possible. It's to show you that you can buy a property this way in very nice areas, in desirable areas, if you know how to structure the right terms and to be able to work with the right sellers. So show up for, if that's the selfish reason, as you were talking about, and it's just to buy your own property, we're certainly going to cover that as well.
And Curtis, bottom line, 20th is free. And I can tell you that Zach and I guarantee whoever comes, they will consider it time very, very well spent. You will not say I could have been elsewhere. I promise you that. So come see us on the 20th. Absolutely. So this is going to be live, guys, as we close, because, I want you to see it. We've got 3 podcasts of them. So if this is kind of wanted to be a teaser to kind of get you to come and take a look at this and kind of marry this within the practical wealth philosophy. We've got, and I'll put them in the show notes for this, and probably seen some emails so you kind of be up to speed. I want you to, so you're going to see some emails from us. I want you to register for this. This is going to be very exciting. It's still early in 2020. And Curtis is committed to getting you guys on top of the horse, okay, and growing your cash flow and helping you, make 2020 your best year ever. Guys, any closing thoughts?
I'll see you on the 20th.
See you there.
All right, see you on the 20th, and go out there and make it a prosperous day.
Thanks for listening to Practical Wealth. To access the show notes and resources, go to practicalwealthshow.com. To get your questions on the show, go to practicalwealthshow.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Practical Wealth. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting.